Arsenal 2, Villarreal 3. Let's talk about it. Now, I apologise, I've not got a few of the normal graphics and images and stuff. Quite frankly, I don't have time, nor the energy to put that together for this one. So it's just going to be a shorter, I would say sweeter, but there's definitely not sweet, reaction to that game. Obviously, I was there at the Emirates. It was nice to be back. The new beers on tap. The E-Bar, you serve your own beer, which is fantastic. They've got new electronic boarding above the lower tier that makes things look more vibrant, so that was good. There's new graphics on the boards when the players, the lineups are being read out. That was good. That was promising. And then the game started. So no, that was good. No, we'll be serious. We will be serious. It's a preseason friendly, right? Caveat, it's a preseason friendly. Does the result matter? No, it doesn't. But is it a problem that we're seeing familiar issues, things that we've seen before, things that we know we needed to improve upon, that as of yet we've not improved upon just 10 days away from the start of the Premier League season? Yes, of course. Of course, that is cause for concern. Anyone that sits there right now and literally just says, it's minutes in the legs and not even all of our best players were playing. Come on, let's be real. We knew going into 22-23 we looked electric, right? So it is slightly concerning. Are there mitigating factors? For sure, and we'll talk about those. But yeah, it's a little bit worrying. It's also worrying because we have a very difficult start to the season, and even just in terms of building that momentum into it, we've lost 2 preseason games in a row. Now, maybe the players are a little bit jet-lagged from coming back from Hong Kong. I don't want to make excuses for them, particularly. Villarreal, it's not like it's a massively strong team. I know they're in the Champions League this season, but ultimately, we should be beating them. And we had the players to beat them. So where did it go wrong? Familiarly to what we've seen before, right? Dominate a lot of the game. Don't create enough chances from the amount of ball that we have. And then concede something stupid at the other end. It was passive. The way we conceded the first goal. Look, of course, there are elements of chance and luck to it. It hits the post. It rebounds off Raya straight to their player. And then, are our defenders throwing themselves and putting their bodies on the line in the way that they perhaps would in the Premier League? Probably not, right? But we go 1-0 down, and of course it had to be Nicola Pepe that would score it. I've heard a few things that he was booed during the game. I don't know where that came from. I can tell you, I was sat clock end. There was no booing, and there was a fair bit of applauding when he scored. Not people on their seats cheering for it, but just fair play. So I don't know where that came from. Then they score another. Again, scrappy, ball bouncing around, but the sort of goals that we do concede too often, especially when we've not put ourselves in the lead. And I think, again, that is frustrating. Actually, Villarreal probably had more chances in total than AC Milan and Spurs did. They were able to catch us in those transitions fairly regularly, which was a little bit worrying. And with us at the other end, we weren't creating enough. Of course, we pull one back from a set piece because we are set piece FC. It was good from Norgard, and Norgard had a good game. But throughout that first half, we just were not using Victor Gyökeres enough. And of course, it is going to take time to adapt to Victor Gyökeres, undoubtedly, right? But especially because he was running towards where I was sat. I was right behind the goal, just at the bottom of the upper tier. But, you're watching your mate run after run after run and just not being picked out. And it got to the point where, and he drifted out to the left, which he often did at Sporting, and he was finding more joy there. And there were a couple of moments, picked up the ball, cut inside, dribbled inside, got a shot away. It wasn't bad. But ultimately, I feel like we need to do some training sessions, some drills in training where it's like, a player gets the ball and the first thing they have to do, it has to be drilled into them. Look up, is Gyökeres making a run? And if he is, try and find him, right? And get to the point where you actually do it every time so that that's the default setting, and then you can start reining it back in. But what we've got now, I feel sorry for him. He's making these runs, he's not being found. So that was frustrating to watch. I do think, if we're being brutally honest, I don't think Saka is up to full speed anywhere near it yet. And Martinelli is frustrating, right? Undoubtedly. one moment, Ben White spreads a lovely ball over to him. We're in a really good position, actually. He is completely 1v1 against his fullback. Gyökeres is 1v1 against the centre-back, and someone else was coming through as well. And Martinelli's first touch gets away from him. His second touch, he gets tackled. And it's like, these are the moments we have to be capitalizing on more. And that frustration is definitely growing. And you can sense it in the crowd, even tonight, in what was very much a friendly family crowd. At times, Martinelli, there's audible groans of frustration. And it's not just that, his end product again this evening I thought was poor as well. So definitely a concern there. Outside of what he offered in terms of the running, Victor Gyökeres was a little bit, what's the word? Not clunky, that's his style, but I don't think he's fully sharp or fully fit yet, basically, is what I'm saying. Some of the pressing was just a little bit, some of it was good, actually. He did put the keeper under pressure at times, but other bits of it were kind of a little bit lazy. But the whole front line was a little bit lazy with the press. I thought Waneri was decent, looked tricky at times. He was given more freedom in that 10. Norgard, like I said, looked good. I think he's going to be brilliant. Norgard is going to be brilliant at screening the defense. I really do think, especially when we're in the lead, he's going to be a great player to have. I do still think to an extent, in terms of progressing the ball forwards, he's a little bit lacking, and Zubimendi is definitely better in that aspect. And of course, it is frustrating that we've not seen the best midfield on paper at least, of Zubimendi, Rice, Ødegaard, then with Victor Gyökeres ahead. Because when those three came on, or Zubimendi came on at half-time, but then when Rice and Ødegaard came on, Gyökeres went off and we stuck Mikel Merino up top. So yeah, we're being edged a little bit by Mikel Arteta when it comes to seeing that. We saw Noni Madueke come on off the left-hand side. Didn't look any worse than Martinelli, in fairness. I know he missed his penalty in the shootout. Don't really care about that. He's not going to be on penalties for us, but at least attempted to get past his man, get to the byline, pull it back. And again, if Victor Gyökeres is there, you hope that he can capitalize on more of those opportunities. Dalman, it's at the point where seriously, he looks like he'd be your first choice sub to bring on in the Premier League. Like when the season starts, he'd be your first choice sub to bring on. It's remarkable what he's doing at that age. Every time he gets the ball, it's not just about the fact that he can take on 2, 3, 4 men if he wants to. It's the decision making. I feel like the vast majority of the time he's making the right decision. Of course, he wins the penalty for the second time that he's won a penalty in pre-season, and it's lovely. Absolutely sells the defender down the river with that kind of first time. The ball's rolling towards him. First time, like Cruyff turn Ronaldo chop style thing. It is absolutely remarkable. So, yeah, look, there are concerns. Gabriel came on and got minutes in the tank, and for him, that is genuinely all that matters. I do think it's going to be really important that he starts against Manchester United instead of Kivior. Timber came on as well, which was really good to see. Ben White, I thought, had a decent game, in fairness, before that. And, yeah, that was pretty much it. Mosquera came on at right back to start with, and then at centre-back. Physically, looks great. On the ball, he looks comfortable. But we lost 3-2. So it's like, there are issues here. Another slight concern is that Madueke was the only senior attacking player on the bench. We are 10 days away from the start of the season. Jesus, Havertz, Trossard, Reece Nelson, all missing. Now, I think Reece Nelson could be to do with the fact that he's looking at a move away. Trossard, Havertz, we believe they're not, any sort of big injuries. But it is a little bit like, again, when you're trying to build this momentum, you want as many of your players as you can to have completely ready to start the season. So, yes, there are concerns. Ultimately, against Bilbao on Saturday, really you want to see, if you can, kind of 45 to 60 minutes out of the team that you're likely to start against Manchester United. It'll be frustrating, I think, if we don't see that. And, not the way that we thought preseason was going to go, if we're honest. Certainly not the way I thought tonight was going to go. I was really expecting a lot more. And, that horseshoe-type football could get frustrating. We just need to be more direct. Like, it's as simple as that. We just have to be more direct. And you see when players that are direct come on, like Max Dalman, makes a big difference. Things just happen. So yeah, look, that's it. A shorter one today. Apologies for that. I am out all day, actually. The reason this is a bit shorter, it's now like 10 p.m. and I'm on a very early train to Manchester doing some filming for some content. But yeah, YouTube content might not be here tomorrow. It will be here on Friday. And other than that, I appreciate you watching. Please do subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Continue the conversation down in the Discord. And other than that, have a fantastic evening. And I hope the rest of your week is splendid. Thank you for watching and goodbye.